Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the JLM Member channel. This is Jim, and today, for my mental health update, I am going to be talking about the warning signs to look for with suicide. And I'm also going to go to group therapy today that I haven't been to in quite a while. I've had a rough week and took some time off to kind of refocus. I do want to point out that artwork behind me. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, and stay tuned for my mental health update. So I am, if any of you have watched any of my other mental health updates, you would know that I have OCD with being places like really early. So the group doesn't start until 12:15, and it is 9:30. Now, some of my being early is because I wanted to film, but some of it is definitely anxiety. So the room is not obviously available for the group meeting because it's so early, but I did come next door to this area called the Village Gate, and it's kind of a neat area that showcases a lot of local artwork. And like I said, I showed that picture of the artwork that was painted in front of the building. That was done by local artist Ryan Miller, and no relation. I'm sorry, Ryan Martin, no relation to myself. I can't believe I just screwed that up. Anyways, he painted that, and I met him at the Suicide Prevention Walk for Life, and got to talk to him a little bit, find out some of his depression and anxiety and suicide attempt issues and whatnot. And really great guy, and he obviously is a really great artist. So I'll post a link to his stuff down below. So one of the things I wanted to do in this video was talk about warning signs of suicide. I'm going to try to do that. It's been difficult to find a spot to do it, and I'm going to be doing it with reading directly from paperwork because I don't want to mess any of it up, and my nerves and anxiety level are pretty high right now because I know I'm going to therapy later. So suicide prevention, knowing the signs. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among Americans, and suicide takes the lives of nearly 45,000 people every year, and 250,000 people will survive a suicide attempt within a year. So it's a pretty high number. Like, it's a really not spoken about as much as it could be. So a lot of this is preventable, but it can be difficult to know when people are at risk. So I think it's important that people know some of the warning signs, and I'm going to read through some things, and then I'll show a picture as well and read off some of the stuff that way. So the list is not comprehensive, and there's continual studies being done on the topic to identify risky behaviors, pre-existing factors that may be involved, and so that they can kind of red flag indicators for when somebody might be at risk. Um, so there's a phenomenon that tends to lead to more suicide attempts when several suicides in the local or social community happen in a short time frame. So that's kind of like a wave of people will do a suicide because somebody did one and it got a lot of attention. And I'm not really sure the thought behind it, like why it happens. It's one of those weird facts. Some other social factors are, lack of support, loss of relationships, substance abuse, cultural or religious beliefs. Then there's stigma attached to it, so people don't want to find, help. So it's important to know the warning signs so that you can help prevent a family member, a loved one, a coworker from knowing. It's good to know the warning signs so you can help prevent that. So the first time I let someone know that I was contemplating suicide was actually on the way to a funeral for a coworker who committed suicide. And I thought I was going to be able to go to this coworker's funeral and see his family, and that it would kind of like snap me out of my depression and anxiety. And the friend that I was going with had no idea that this was going on because as people with depression know, that you become able to hide it so well. So we are driving to the funeral for the coworker who committed suicide, and I just lost it. I broke down, cried a lot, and told him everything. And he was awesome, very supportive, helped get me through that moment, kept me engaged with talking, which is important. And if he had seen warning signs before that, he maybe didn't know how to approach me about them. But if there's one piece of advice that I can give anyone, and I'm definitely not an expert, I'm not trying to be one, but if you see somebody who's displaying some of the signs that I'm going to go over next, don't be afraid to talk to them. You got to ask how they're doing and what you can do, and really a lot of times it's just being there and listening. So I'm going to go over some of the risk factors, warning signs on the next picture. Okay, so here are some of the suicide warning signs. A sense of hopelessness or no hope for the future, isolation or feeling alone, aggressiveness and irritability, possessing lethal means, feeling like a burden to others, drastic changes in mood and behavior, frequently talking about death, self-harm like cutting, engaging in risky behaviors, making funeral arrangements, giving things away, substance abuse, making suicide threats, and having negative view of yourself. And I know that at different times I have definitely showed some of these warning signs. Giving things away, or in my case, sometimes throwing things away, has been a huge warning sign for me. And self-harm is another one that I have done. Feeling like a burden to others. I would also say that the feeling that people would be better off without you around would be similar to that. So these are some of the suicide warning signs that you can look for. And again, if you see anyone exhibiting any of these signs, and these are not all inclusive, but it's important to reach out to them and just be available to talk and listen and be there for that person. So something else they have here at this, something else they have at this location, this building, the Village Gate, is this chalkboard, and you can leave messages before I die, kind of a, what would you do? What do you want to do? So they erase it when it gets full, and then new people come in and leave their message. Kind of neat. So I've got so much time left before the group session meets. So what I showed when I first came in was NAMI, N-A-M-I, and that's the National Alliance for Mental Illness. That's not the group therapy that I'm doing. The group therapy that I'll be going to is a part of the Creative Wellness Workshop, and I'm going to show you that calendar in a minute. And it's a peer support group, so there's not a licensed therapist. It's all us with whatever mental health issues, and we just share our stories and we talk and we introduce ourselves and that kind of stuff. And the difference between this group and a licensed therapist group setting is that this group does socialize outside of the meetings. They'll get together for bowling once a month, and during the summer they'll do picnics. And I've never gone to any of those, but I do know that they're pretty popular with the members in the group. For some of them, it may be the only time they get out and socialize, and for others, it just is, one of those great ways to catch up with each other and check on each other's mental health without it being in a room setting. It's out in public, being social, which is important. But I don't do it as often as I should. So yeah, I'm going to show you the calendar. All right, so we got the October 2019 Creative Wellness Opportunities of the Mental Health Association. That's the location. So, you just have a huge variety of things. Guitar, support groups, art journaling, mandalas, journaling, all sorts of things are jumping out at me. But the support groups meet on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So that's today. See, the group is at 12 to 2. There's meditation, coloring, and whatnot. So all sorts of good stuff. So I'm going to try to say this real quick before anyone comes around. But one of the issues when I am suffering with this OCD to be places really, really early is when I have to go to the bathroom. And there's not really a convenient location to do so. The building that I was just in, that I showed that artwork and things, did have a public restroom, and I went to it, and it's under construction. So there was a guy in there with like a toilet in his hand and a wrench, and he was like, "Sorry, dude." So yeah, I'm doing the pee-pee dance for the next hour, maybe.
1 hour later.
So I did the group, and first you saw that I was able to go to the bathroom, which was great. But when I was showing the calendar of events of what's offered at the Creative Wellness Center, I saw that coloring, and so I went and I actually colored for about an hour and a half or so. And that was a nice way to ease myself into going to the group. meeting. So, but I want to talk about real quick the process at the group meeting, because I mentioned before that it's not run by a therapist or anything. So this is all peer networking, which it has a lot of benefits to it. But so like you go in and there's like a sign-in sheet. You sit around in a room, and once everybody gets in there and gets seated, we will do reading of the rules, and much like a I don't know what's the proper way to say, like a therapist run group session, there's certain rules that you abide by: not interrupting each other, not giving advice, obviously not starting any conflicts, things of that nature. Everything that's said within the group is private and not to be shared with others, and so on. So after we've read all of the rules, we go around the room and we introduce ourselves to the group. So you state your name, and then you have the option of letting everyone know what your mental illnesses are, and you rate your feelings at that moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being really bad, and then 10 is like you're the best you could ever be. So not usually a lot of 10s. Every once in a while there is. Sorry for the shaky camera, guys. Let's see. So so then once everybody's done that introduction, we call it check-in, introductions, the floor is open then for somebody to begin speaking about how they're feeling, or maybe something that they did, that's mental health related. If they overcame something that they wanted to share with the group, if they feel it might be beneficial to other people. A lot of times, nobody wants to start off being the first one talking. So usually we'll give the floor to people who rated their emotions lowest first, give them a chance. And there's no pressure to talk, and it went really well. So I'm glad I went. It was good to see some familiar faces, and there were a bunch of new people as well. So yeah, it was overall a good experience again. So if you are resistant to group meetings, I would recommend, maybe trying it once or twice, maybe twice to really get a feel for if the group setting is for you or not. It's not always, because not always are we comfortable, talking about things. But what I found with this particular group, I started going to it in 2016. The thing that attracted me to it was, if you did not want to talk, but you just wanted a place to be safe around other people with similar situations, that was a good setting. So, I didn't go in there today expecting to talk, but I did. I ended up sharing a little bit about how my week has been and why I was there, that I needed to be around some safe, in a safe environment, and to share how I was feeling. So it was good. So this video is over. It was titled Group Therapy and Warning Signs of Suicide. So I kind of double whammied this mental health update. I hope everybody got something out of it, and I hope you check back and visit my channel every once in a while. And I do mental health updates. I'm trying to do like 1 a month. That's my goal, because I'm not truly a mental health channel, and I don't feel that I'm qualified to be one, but I do like to share because it helps me. So some of these are more about helping myself, and if it helps other people by accident, that's a good thing. So thanks again for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.